If you don't want your plants to die like this one, or almost this one, you have to know about hardiness zones. Hardiness zones are important for gardeners, farmers, and basically anyone interested in growing plants in general. Hardiness zones are a concept that were invented in the 1920s, but they really didn't pick up speed until many decades later, and now they're quite commonplace. Hardiness zones really have to do with the average minimum temperature in different locations. And if you look at a map, you will notice that each region is a different color. Some are very pale and some are more of a dark reddish tone, and then some are green and other shades. So these shades correspond to different hardiness zones, and these hardiness zones determine what you can grow in that zone. So if you take a look at Alaska, you'll find that it is, most of it at least, hardiness zone 1, which means the average minimum temperature for that region is very, very low. It can go down between -60 degrees Fahrenheit and -50 degrees. Then if you look at the highest hardiness zone, which is 13, you will find that the average minimum temperature is around 60 degrees, which is, still pretty warm for minimum degrees. Being familiar with hardiness zones is very helpful for determining what kind of plants you will be able to grow, because obviously if your location goes down to -50 degrees, not much is going to survive. Often if you look at a packet of seeds that you could pick up at your local grocery store, it will usually have a hardiness zone recommendation, or it'll just tell you what hardiness zones that plant will be able to tolerate. Some plants are hardy down to a certain level, meaning they'll be able to survive when the temperature gets to a certain point. If you try to grow a plant that is hardy down to hardiness zone 13, it will not survive in anything that gets colder than that. Growing according to hardiness zones alone will not necessarily make sure that your plants survive. You also have to take in other factors that hardiness zones do not elaborate about, specifically when the last frost occurs, how long cold periods last, the sun exposure that your plants get, the rain exposure. For that reason, using hardiness zones is more of kind of a loose guideline for determining what kind of plants you can grow. You still need to take into account when is the best time to sow your plants, when is the best time to harvest them, and that sort of thing. It is definitely helpful if you want to make sure that your plants survive even when temperatures start to drop. And obviously certain hardiness zones are better able to grow a wider variety of things for a longer period compared to other areas. So obviously if you live in the remote tundra of Alaska, you're not going to be able to grow as much as you would, say, in Indiana or a Midwest state. And in the same vein, you also would not be able to grow the same things in southern Florida compared to what you could grow in Maine. But again, using hardiness zones as a guideline can be very helpful, especially when you're just starting out as a gardener. I hope this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so don't miss those.